wonderful evening, or afternoon, if you will. Again, my name is Pollo Prosper. I know they told me I have 2 hours, so I'll keep it short, right? We're short. I would get straight to it, guys. Whenever I get a chance to speak in front of an audience, I said that it's a privilege. I'm not trying to be humble, because it is true, and I believe that, because when you are put in a position where you have a mic, you have a voice, you have authority, you could either make someone or break someone. And so therefore, I've always considered myself to be very careful what I say and how I say what I said. So I just want to share my story with you before I go through the slides. I promise you I'm not going to be long. As he mentioned, I was born in Haiti. For the first 8 years of my life, I was surrounded by the most important people in my life. My grandmother, my mother, my 2 sisters, and a brother. Growing up in the islands of Haiti had many challenges. But yet, I didn't know that I was poor, not until I was able to travel into the city. Then I realized there was something different. There were people that was living differently than I was, because I was born in the village. Growing up, I was not exposed to religion, but somewhere along the way, I've learned about God. The first thing I've learned was that you didn't play with him. And the second thing, that he was always listening. And after discovering that I was poor, I remember saying something like this: God, if you take me out of the city, I will serve you. And so he quickly responded to that challenge. But for me, on the other hand, it took a little more time. I remember when I was 15 years old, my brothers and 2 sisters and I boarded our very first airplane. It was a plane that would take us to the promised land, so I thought. It said our trip to the United States was a bittersweet one. On one hand, God was fulfilling his promise, and on the other hand, I was leaving the only place I knew, my home. A place of safety due to the care of my mother and grandmother. When we landed in Fort Lauderdale International Airport, my dad, who had not seen me in a long time, was there to pick us up. And I was so excited. Literally, I was overjoyed with the feelings of excitement. I remember thinking to myself, we started from the bottom, now we're here. However, the feeling was short-lived, because when I arrived at my dad's house, he had a woman living in the house with him. So I immediately became resentful against my dad, and that resentment showed up in my action and words. Things literally quickly grew worse. I remember literally in November 1995, my dad and I got into a huge fight over my stepmother. In rage and anger, I was so upset at during that fight. I broke so many items that I could find in the house. And from that point on, my dad said to me, you think you're grown, you don't want to listen, and if you know anything about Haitian parents, you only have 1 strike. There's no 2 strikes. They bring you into the country, they expect you to do better. The only thing they're asking of you is for you to listen to them and show them respect. And as a result of my confrontation with my dad, he said, you think you're grown? And he threw all my clothes outside. He says, get out now. Those words stuck with me there, and they also changed the rest of pretty much the course of my life. Now, being thrown outside of my dad's house at the age of 16, literally was 2 weeks after my 16th birthday, I started pacing back and forth in the parking lot. And I started wondering, man, the reality of what just happened, I couldn't believe it. For the first time as a young man, I can remember that I can literally recall that I cried, because I used to be one of those guys who, you know, your pants is right here. I've been there, fellas. I know how that looks. Right now I'm seeing young people doing that. I can't believe I've done that at one point in my life. But I understand, I feel you. From that point on, I remember after my dad kicked me out of the house, I had a best friend named Charles. He had came from Haiti, but almost the same time as me, in the hope of having a better future. Now, even though we were from the same island, we only connected while we were in Fort Lauderdale High School. Over the years, this young man has become a best friend, not only my best friend, also the person that I literally credited for being alive today, because he kept me out of the game. He kept me out of selling drugs. He kept me out of smoking and drinking. So after I told him what had happened to me, and he within 15 minutes, he came to pick me up on the double bike. And so at this point, I was determined to do what had to be done in order to change the course of my life. Now keep in mind, I was a young man from Haiti at the age of 16, no place to sleep, literally homeless, and didn't speak the language. So until that time came, Charles and I were determined we were going to learn the language, and so we created our own English words. We call it Slangish. It was so embarrassing when we would speak to people in our newfound language, but we were willing to endure the laughter and the embarrassment for a little while, because our desire to learn the language was stronger than our fear of criticism. And so Charles and I determined that we know we needed to learn the language for our survival, and that determination paid off. Within 90 days, we both were speaking English fluently. Now, in learning the universal language have allowed me to move to a greater position in my life. I remember after being kicked out of my father's house, my first job was at a restaurant. I started working at a restaurant for $4.25, cleaning tables. Just a few days into my position, the dishwasher guy didn't show up for work, and my supervisor asked me to fill in for him. I quickly accepted the challenge. Now, you may be wondering, what challenge? You see, it was a challenge of not knowing how to use something or machine that I've never heard of before. Now, after a 60-second training, you should have seen me. I look like I was born to wash dishes. After completing the shift, my supervisor moved me from cleaning tables to wash dishes. You see, as a young man, when I was cleaning those dishes, I didn't feel sorry for myself, because I knew that the deal that I made with God, that if He get me out of this place, I would serve Him and I was going to be successful. That was my determination, that was my drive, and I was willing to do anything in that journey of pursuing of success, of pursuing personal success at that time for myself, because I didn't want to go back to what I used to be. And I remember the pain and how it felt when I was out. I was homeless and didn't have anything else, anyone to look up to. But as a young man, I knew that if I stick with my plan, I stick with working hard and stick with working smart, eventually things will turn around for me. But in a nutshell, what I want you all to get today, before I get to my presentation really, is that the hope is that, especially toward the young people, you have to make it okay to fail. You see, failure is only okay when you choose to get back up after failing. You have to, when you choose to get back up after failing, because you see, the journey to success is full. It's really full of failure. It's full of failure. But here's what I want you to get from this presentation. There are 10 things that you must do, you must overcome in order for you to become a person of success beyond self. The first thing you have to understand is this. Clicker. The first thing we have to do, we talk about and believe, take charge, and succeed. When we typically talk about believing in yourself, it's self-belief. You cannot accomplish, you cannot achieve anything that you do not believe you can do. It doesn't matter how much content, how much money I give you, how many pages of information that I give you. If you don't believe in yourself, believe that it's possible for you, it will not and it cannot happen. And by believing, next step, that you will take action. By taking action means that you're taking charge of the decision of the things that you want to accomplish. You have to take charge because you are the only one who can do what you say that you want to do. You're the only one who can do what you believe that you could do. You're the only one that could do that what you say you see yourself doing. And as a result of that, you will become a person of success. And I often say that every one of us are a success at both. You are a success. Because it takes, I think there was a fight for your existence at both at conception. So that alone make you a unique person, unique individual. You were chosen. So you're already a success, but how do you activate that success within yourself? I'm going backward, right? So here's the things that you must overcome when it comes to you going to succeed beyond self. Number one is one thing that I know most people are afraid of or scared of is the fear factor. If the fear factor is that, what if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't work out? And that question is a question that will keep you paralyzed and not moving forward towards anything or do anything, because you're afraid that if it doesn't work out, people might talk about me. What will my family say? What will my friends think of me? What would they think of me? And the other one is that what I realize, every one of us has fears, right? We all have fear. But how to overcome fears, to understand this. When was the last time you do something for the first time? That's one of the things I had to do to help me to overcome my fears. I've done something for the first time. What I've done, when I joined the retail company, and I remember that when I started my first business, and I said, man, what am I going to do? I left my job really, left the job that I was making good money, and decided that I wanted to start a company. And I did it the wrong way. The way that I did it, I would not recommend it to anyone. That I went straight into the business, left everything my income really, and then start the business out of nowhere, expecting that I was going to make money. It didn't work out that way, and so going that one way. Sorry guys. The second point is limitation belief factor. What are your limitations? Self-limitation is the second thing that will keep you from achieving your success. Self-limitation, I love what Brian Tracy says, that you begin to fly when you let go of your self-limitation belief and your mind's and aspiration to rise to greatest heights. You begin to fly when you let go of your self-limiting beliefs and allow your minds and aspiration to rise to a greater height. What are some things that's getting in the way of your success? What are some things that you're allowing to limit you from achieving your goals? Only you can get in your own way.